The international talks are not going to get anywhere. We almost know that for sure. So we're here demonstrating our anger about that. They won't get there for a lot of reasons, but chief amongst those is the fact that the US will not accept binding targets. The US is a bloc. The US is a bloc because of the hard right in America in particular. And here to tell us a bit more about that, but also because he's a leading member of the environmental or the equity, energy and environment working group at the Occupy movement up at St Paul's. Here's Peter Coville.
Hi. 7 weeks ago today, on the 15th of October, around 2,000 people met in front of St Paul's Cathedral. You may have heard of this. With the intention of occupying the heart of the financial sector, the London Stock Exchange, or the space in front of it at least. We were prevented from doing so by the private owners of Paternoster Square, who had issued an injunction. You can say boo. There'll be a few boos as we go along, so. So a camp and tent sprang up down one side of the cathedral. Since then we've occupied 2 more sites in London, and there are dozens more around the country. And I believe there are over 2,000 occupations around the world now. This is a global, powerful global movement. And including, as I've just been reminded, there's an Occupy Durban now.
Well, but Occupy for COP17 basically it's called.
The thousands of activists who've been involved in these protests know what millions who didn't or couldn't participate also know. Things cannot go on the way they are. These protesters also knew this. Change won't come about just through protests, although these are very important in raising awareness. And what's true for the economic and the financial system is also true for the environment. And I want to say to you that in fact it's the same fight. In New York recently, the Slovenian philosopher Slavoj Žižek gave a speech in which he said, "They tell you that we're dreamers, but the true dreamers are those who think that things can go on indefinitely the way they are." So, given that people are asleep, I think we need to wake them up a bit, don't you? Let's start with the people, the caretakers, perhaps the cleaners or whoever's hanging around over there. But a symbolic wake up to our Parliament. So after 3, get ready, deep breath in, alright, and really fill your lungs. And after 3, I'd like you to shout, wake up. Alright, are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Brilliant. Okay. Now we've woken up some of the people around here, immediate vicinity, but I think we need to wake up people around the country. That's going to be a harder job, as we all know. We'd all like there to be far bigger numbers here, given the importance of the problem. To wake those people up, I think we're going to have to think about how we do that. We're going to have to be making the news. We're going to have to be setting the agenda. And a small number of people, as we know from history, can do this. So take courage in the historical examples. Some of us, I think, are going to have to step outside their comfort zone and perhaps think about things, kind of actions they haven't taken before. Taking direct action like we're doing in the Occupy movement. I think we need to occupy for the climate. Let's spread this initiative of occupying. Let's think about how else we can occupy, who we can occupy. The Occupy movement needs to take up the climate as part of its core message, and that's why we've set up a group within the London Occupation called the Thank you. We've set up a working group within the London Occupation called the Energy, Equity and Environment Working Group, and we're trying to put and we have succeeded in putting the message about the climate at the heart of London Occupation, because we've got an article included, a strong article on climate change included in the official initial statement of the Occupation for London. As well as the climate being at the heart of the occupation, I think climate activists need to be at the heart of the occupation as well. This works both ways. We need to reinforce each other, help each other out. Because the economy and the financial system and climate crisis are two sides of the same coin. This morning we went to a climate walk of shame around the city, some of us here, visiting some notorious climate criminals. Marks and Spencer, Cargill Industries, RWE, RBS.
Very much boo, triple boo.
Everybody, of course, everybody, individuals, all sorts of organisations, government, local government, have a part to play in bringing about the climate crisis and in the solutions for it. But the large corporations in particular have a special responsibility here, because they have enormous influence on politics and they are undermining our democracy. And that's part of what the whole Occupy movement is about. Take a notorious example, the Koch brothers. Right. So most people have heard of the Koch brothers here. Koch is not C-O-K-E for anybody who doesn't know them, it's K-O-C-H. Right? Some people prefer a different pronunciation. The Koch brothers are the second largest private conglomerate in the United States.
It's a little facile, isn't it?
They have a shameful record of pollution and bribing their way and covering their way out of their responsibilities and bending the regulations. They are the biggest funders in the United States of climate disinformation.
Yeah, boo.
Having taken ExxonMobil recently, according to Greenpeace US. They're the biggest funders of the Tea Party movement. And through the Tea Party, they sponsor people, Republicans in the American Congress, who are blocking the United States, any progress in the United States on climate change measures, meaningful measures on climate change. We know that the Koch brothers are not alone. There are lots of big corporations, there are lots in our country we've just mentioned. So what I'm saying to you is that the economy and the finance and the fight about the climate are the same fight. We need to join together, we need to stand up together, we need to fight to change the way that our economy and our finances run, and doing this, that will help us address, that's the only way that we can address the looming catastrophe that we have in the climate. Occupy and climate justice, one fight. Thank you.